What's going on, family? It's your boy, Mike Macklin, aka Money Mike, the financial Thanos, because I'm snapping my fingers and I'm turning your financial problems to dust. Hey, I want to welcome you guys to my channel. Definitely appreciate all the love and support. If this is your first time tuning in, hey, do me a huge favor and consider subscribing to my channel and also hitting that post notification bell. That way you know exactly when I drop new hits, and I'm dropping these things at least 4 times a week, so you don't want to miss this. I am a personal financial coach, and what I like to do on each and every Tuesday and Thursday is I'll get on YouTube and I'll look for different money videos to react to, add my own insights to, and hopefully you all enjoy it. If you do enjoy my videos, do me one more favor and share it, and also smash that like button so YouTube knows that you guys are enjoying this. Well, today what I wanted to do is I kind of wanted to get into the mental game of money. And what I did was I actually found a video talking about a book that was written by Mr. Morgan Housel called The Psychology of Money. When you think about money, it's psychological. It's something that you have to put in your mind the right mindsets in order for you to be able to make great things happen with your money. So we're going to take a look at this together. I haven't watched this video, so we're going to watch this together here. We're going to figure out what's going on. And if you enjoy it, again, hit that like button and let's see what goes down.
This video is sponsored by Blinkist. Click on the link below to get free access to thousands of non-fiction book summaries.
Okay, great.
Have you ever heard the incredible story of Ronald Reed, a janitor at Jcpenney who donated millions of dollars to good causes? Many call him the janitor philanthropist. Ronald Reed was a mechanic at a gas station for 25 years, then a janitor at Jcpenney for another 17 years.
Oh gosh.
Reed's life was as simple as it gets. He had a small little 2-bedroom house, and many of his friends said that his main hobby was chopping firewood. Reed passed away in 2014 at the age of 92.
Ooh,
then this humble janitor made national headlines. Reed left his kids $2 million and donated over $6 million to his local hospital and library.
Oh, wow.
Those who knew him were shocked, but there was no secret lottery win or inheritance. Reed saved as much as he could and invested in the stock market. Then he waited. He waited long enough until his tiny savings compounded into more than $8 million. In that same year, Eric Williams, an NBA player who made nearly $40 million playing pro basketball, was homeless and with tens of thousands of dollars in debt. What is interesting is how unique cases like these are to finance. In what other industry can you see someone with no college degree, no training or connections massively outperform a person with the best education, training, or connections? It's hard to think of one. It's difficult to think of a janitor performing better heart surgery than a surgeon. Yet we see cases like this often in the world of finance.
Okay.
But how? According to author Morgan Housel, it comes down to our psychology. So today, let's go over the top ideas from the book The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel. Idea number 1. Behavior outperforms intelligence. When we go to school, we are taught to learn in a mechanical way. We are taught math and physics, everything makes sense, and there's a rule for everything. And as adults, we see money the same way we would a math problem. If we want to retire with millions, we can just do the math. Invest X, a Y return, and wait this long, and retire a millionaire. We are taught just to put numbers in a formula, and the formula will just tell us what to do. And it assumes that we'll just go and do it. There's nothing wrong with understanding the number side of money, but it doesn't tell you what happens in your head when you actually try to do it. For example, most people know what they need to do in order to lose weight and be healthy. Yet, many don't do it.
Right.
It doesn't have to do with how much they know. Most know exactly what to do. It has more to do with what happens in their mind when they try to do it.
Okay.
Morgan Housel says that we are taught to view money like math or physics, with laws and rules, and not enough as psychology, with emotions and nuance. We cannot understand why people go into debt by analyzing interest rates, but rather the emotions that lead to overspending. Housel says that financial success is not a hard science, it's a soft skill. Doing well with money has little to do with how smart you are and a lot more to do with how you behave.
That's true.
This is why a rich person with poor behaviors can end up with a financial disaster, while ordinary people with little education can be wealthy. It's not what they know, but how they behave that makes them wealthy.
Okay.
Idea number 2. reasonable over rational. Creating wealth is a little more than just a math problem. It has to do with understanding who you are and how you behave. There are great investment strategies that might work on paper but do not help us sleep at night. For example, there's an investment strategy that proposes that a good investment portfolio should have a 2-to-1 leverage on our younger years and taper out as we get older to lower risk. Basically, for every dollar you put into your investments fund, you will borrow $2. And the math works. But how many of us will actually be comfortable having 2 times as much debt than our entire life savings in a volatile market? How many would continue with this strategy after we see 100% or more of our life savings disappear in a market crash? This is why Morgan Housel says it's better to be reasonable than rational. The goal is to stay in the market for as long as possible, to take advantage of compounding. But if we can emotionally handle a high-risk, high-reward strategy, it won't matter that it might give us better returns if we jump ship as soon as it gets rough. It would be much easier for us to continue with an investment strategy that we actually feel comfortable with, and ultimately, it would give us the better return since we're able to stay invested for the long term. Making a lower but safe return in your investments can be more reasonable than having a higher but significantly riskier returns if it means that we can emotionally handle it. Risk can cause stress, and stress can cause emotional decisions, and emotional decisions, especially in the investment world, can mean financial disasters. So knowing yourself and what you're comfortable with will help you decide on what reasonable means to you. Idea number 3. Everything has a price. Over the last 30 years, the S&P 500 had a 946% return. All you had to do was invest your money and wait. That seems easy when we see the end results, but it doesn't seem that easy when the markets are losing over 30% of their value and we are losing our life savings. It doesn't seem easy when we lose our jobs and investing is the last thing on our mind. Like everything, successful investing demands a price, and it's not in dollars and cents. It's uncertainty, fear, and volatility. Imagine wanting to buy a car. You can either pay the $30,000 to get the brand new car, or you can go and find a used car at a cheaper price, or they can just go and steal it. Okay, most people are not gonna steal the car because they know the price they would pay if they are caught. So what does this have to do with investing? Imagine that you want a 20% return on your investments. This is that brand new car. It is possible, but it's not free. This comes with extreme volatility, big ups and big downs. The price tag can mean many sleepless nights. Just like buying a new car, a few investors will pay the price and get the chance of a higher return. Others decide that they don't want to pay that price. They go for the still very good but slightly used car. They choose to pay the lower price of lower volatility that a diversified index fund would give. This means they will get a lower but steady return. Some try to steal the car and get the benefits without paying the price. Many of these investors try to create strategies to time the market, to take advantage of the growth without suffering the losses. Some lucky ones might get away with it, but the majority end up losing more than if they just paid the price. So decide, which one are you? And be ready to pay the price. Idea number 4. Even if you fail, you can still win.
That's true.
When you hear the word Disney, what do you think about? Most of us see Disney as the company that owns pretty much everything, from superheroes, animated films, theme parks, to Star Wars. But did you know that if it wasn't for the movie Cinderella, Disney would probably not exist today? The company was a few $1 million in debt, and many of their films had lost a lot of money. Just to stay afloat, Disney got a contract with the US government to create short animations with World War II propaganda. But it wasn't until Disney released Cinderella and it made $8 million in their first 6 months, which adjusted for inflation would be around $88 million today, that Disney was able to pay their debts, buy a state-of-the-art studio, finance their next few films, and eventually led to the creation of Disneyland and Disney World. The point of this story is that you don't need to get everything right all the time. Virtually all financially successful people have many failures and losses, and that is just part of building wealth. Like billionaire Mark Cuban says, you only have to be right once. So don't be afraid to lose, because you can still win, even if you lose. Idea number 5. Wealth is invisible. Whenever we think of being rich or wealthy, many will think about the luxuries. But as Morgan Housel says, you can't really see wealth. We tend to judge wealth by what we see. We see the cars, the mansions, the luxuries. But in reality, we don't know anything about the person who has these things. They could be wealthy, they could just be spending most of their money, or be in debt. There's no way of knowing. The only thing we know about someone driving a $200,000 car is that they are down $200,000
Right.
or in debt $200,000. Wealth is what you don't see. The house that was never purchased, the car never bought, the vacation not taken. Wealth are financial assets not converted into the stuff you see. Now, some people might be rich, but not wealthy. Rich is current income. Someone driving a $200,000 car is probably rich, even if the car is bought with debt, because they need a certain level of income to make the monthly payments. It is pretty easy to spot a rich person. They tend to make themselves pretty visible. Wealth, on the other hand, is much harder to see. Wealth is income not spent, is money grown in value that gives the option to buy more later than it can right now. There are some wealthy people who choose to buy the luxuries, but what we see is still just their richness and not their wealth. You don't see their investment portfolios and their assets. You see the house they have and not the house they could have had if they spent all their money.
Yep.
It's easy to be fooled into thinking rich is the goal because it's easy to see. But what most people really want is freedom, the ability to do what they want when they want, which is what real wealth can give. Idea number 6. When is it enough? We live in a world where the sky is the limit. There is virtually no limit on how much money a person can make. This can create a problem on its own. And that is the question, when is it enough? There are two things that modern capitalism is good at: generating wealth and generating envy. Now, being inspired by someone who is doing better is great and can help us believe that our goals are possible. But sometimes, this can turn into envy and make us feel like we are not enough, even if we're doing great. Think about this. To be in the wealthiest 1% in the United States, one must make around $500,000 per year.
Okay.
So let's say that our friend Jerry here is a surgeon and he makes $500,000 per year. He is in the 1%. He lives a great life, drives a great car, hires people to do his household work, and is able to afford to take great vacations around the world. He feels very accomplished. But one day, in one of his vacations, he meets John, a wealthy CEO who makes $25 million per year. John makes Jerry's entire yearly salary in just under a week. John is not only in the 1%, but he is in the 1% of the 1%. To John, Jerry's income doesn't seem all that big. You would think that John feels great with his accomplishments. But John is friends with legendary director George Lucas, who has a net worth of $10 billion. This makes John $25 million look pretty small.
Right.
And we can keep going. Jeff Bezos added $75 billion to his wealth in 2020 alone, reaching over $188 billion, making George Lucas' entire life's wealth look kind of small, and Dr. Jerry's wealth look quite insignificant. See, there will always be someone out there with more. The ceiling of social comparison is so high that virtually no one will be able to hit it. The goal is to not go into that battle in the first place, but instead focus on what we want, what makes us happy. Money is just a tool that we can use to create freedom.
Yep.
That is all. And it all depends on what freedom means to you. Alright guys, there are so many ideas in this book that I wasn't able to fit in this video. But if you want to check more about this book, you should check the sponsor of this video, Blinkist. Blinkist had...
Okay. They're getting into an advertisement here. Great video to me. I think that was really good because it got to the core of wealth building. And that is the mindset, how you look at things. A lot of wealth building is all about, one, the level of risk you're willing to take. And, for somebody who maybe want to get rich really quickly, you're going to have to understand in your mind that there are some things that you're going to have to do. You're going to have to take some really big risks. And that's cool. Nothing's wrong with that if you can handle that emotionally. But if you cannot, it's better just to, go in there and get a steady, gradual increase, something to where you can sleep at night. And a good friend of mine recently told me, sometimes you have to look at things like, do you want money or do you want peace of mind? So that to me is kind of a mindset in itself when it comes to wealth building. Another great thing that was discussed was being okay with, making errors along the way or, having bumps in the road. Like Mark Cuban says, you only have to be right once. So what that means is, hey, don't be afraid to make mistakes. Don't make mistakes define you. Because again, you could come up with 5 terrible business ideas, and then number 6 may be the thing that makes you become a billionaire. Another thing that I pulled out of there was the whole comparison thing, and how a lot of people, they may have a great deal of money, but because they're looking at other people, or, they're comparing themselves to others, it still makes them unhappy. It still makes them feel like it's not enough. And a lot of us, we have that problem. I think that hit the nail on the head. A lot of us, we see these pro athletes, or we see these people with a lot of money, and we feel like we have to have that much money, or we have to get that high. And with that, a lot of people won't start their financial freedom journey because they look at that number. They look at what that other person is making and compare themselves to that person. And it may not be in your destiny to reach that number. But financial freedom is something that is actually very easily attained when you understand what works for you. And that is going to be the last point I want to make. Financial freedom really, again, it's a psychological thing. It's all about the number you need in order to enjoy your life. And so I always tell people, you got to figure out your financial freedom number and then work towards that. And in most cases, it's not going to be way up there in the millions, and it's a lot more attainable than you guys and ladies think. Hey, that's my time. I hope you enjoyed this video today. Make sure you pick up the book, The Psychology of Money, if you want to learn more about this. I'm not sponsoring this. I don't get paid anything for this. And I'm also not leaving a link to it down there because I don't know. You can probably go on Amazon and pick up this book as pretty much anything. But I think it'll be something good to read. These were some great ideas. Hey, if you enjoyed this, again, please hit that like button for me. And also subscribe to my channel. Hit that notification bell. And one final thing before I go. I'm a personal financial coach. And if you would like to learn a very simple 5-step strategy to attain financial success, I want you to go to my website, www.moneymike313.com. That should appear on the screen here in a second. Go to that website, scroll to the bottom, and you'll click Book Appointment. You get a free 30-minute consultation with me. I will show you exactly how to put your financial freedom plan together. And if you'd like to work with me, by all means, let's make it happen. And as I depart, I want to just let you all know that I love you. God loves you. He smiles when he sees you, and he sees you all the time, so he's always smiling. So why aren't we? Hey, you guys have a fantastic one. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'll see you on the next video. God bless you all. Gone.
Damn, I ain't been broke in a minute. Damn.